in Nottingham my whole life. But just to give a little bit of background, firstly about the campaign, it was started in the late summer of 2012 by Lucy Ann Holmes, who was a writer and actress, and she started it after encountering the page 3 image shuffled a little bit further down the newspaper on the day after Jessica Ennis and several other people won gold medals. And page 3 was actually replaced with lots of images of women who'd achieved and got gold medals, but the biggest single image still in the newspaper that was shuffled the pages along was of a woman standing there in her pants for the titillation of men. So despite all the achievements, that was still the most important thing about women that day in the newspaper. So for some reason, although she'd grown up with page 3 all her life from being a child, and it had always got to her, for some reason that day it really did make her really sad. So she went home and she just couldn't get it out of her head, and she couldn't sleep, and so she decided to do something about it. And she set up an online petition, a Twitter account, and a Facebook group. And it just sort of, I'm not going to say it snowballed, because it didn't. It's been a long and painful, arduous process of slow snowball rolling from there, and it's still rolling. And we have ups and downs, my goodness. But within sort of 48 hours of setting up that account, she got her first interview with Caroline for The Guardian. So it was, things sort of did start getting coverage quite quickly, and I think we've been very lucky in that it's sort of ridden a wave of emerging social interest and media interest in feminism, as well as some other emerging feminist campaigns like Everyday Sexism and a growing feminist interest as well. So it's been good timing for the campaign. In terms of me, well, I'm 39, I'm a mother of 2. I am not an academic, I'm not an academic feminist. I would say I probably only called myself a feminist for about 2 years. Like a lot of other people, I came to it from Caitlin Moran's book, sat in the bath saying, I am a feminist. From there I found No More Page 3, and like Lucy, I had grown up with page 3 in my house. I'm from a working class family background. My dad used to bring it home every day. He had a big poster of Linda Lusardi on his wall. My mum went to bed with that every night, woke up with it every morning. So I can't begin to imagine quite how much that affected her, but I do know I'm only really beginning to work out how much it affected me just coming into puberty and my sense of self and my body image. And of course we see that mirrored across the campaign in the experiences of lots of women, and also some experiences from men who talk about their first exposure of porn being from page 3, from being paper boys and having a sneaky peek, to then starting to look around on the internet and magazines and films, and and we've actually had men say, please do something about this, because this is what got me into it and it's ruined all my relationships. So it's not just for women that we do this. And so I sort of signed the petition, and then, I don't know why, but I suppose similarly to Lucy, it just stuck in my mind, so I ended up following it on Twitter and getting involved in debates or banging my head against the wall on Facebook. Sometimes with people who I thought were friends, and sometimes with complete strangers, with varying levels of success. But obviously I must have stuck out a little bit, because when Lucy went through burnout after 6 months of banging her head against the wall, she reached out to a group of us, and I was lucky enough to be one of those people. Thank goodness I was, because I'm now in a HQ team, which is No More Page 3 HQ, incidentally, is not a real place. It's a cyber group, it's a secret Facebook group. It feels like a real place. I feel like when I go in there, I've walked in a door and sat down with all these people, and they're the most amazing group of people I've ever encountered in my life. They're just lots of varying experiences and varying talents, and somehow, completely organically, we've all come together and we all support each other, and there's such a strength in that. And when we do get the trolling and things on Twitter and on Facebook, we have that strength in sort of having somebody else you can go back to and say, oh my goodness, it's really off, and somebody you can have a moan at, and that's really a good strength of the campaign. But one of the things I really wanted to say today, and the most important thing, is that, as I said, I came into this really thinking, God, what can I offer? I was a bit freaked out when she asked me, because I thought, God, did she know I'm just a nurse from Nottingham? What am I going to do? And that's the thing. I've done loads of things that I would never have thought I could have done. I mean, in my nursing career, I've done things like teaching, I've done workshopping, I've done things like that, but it hadn't crossed my mind that I could take that skill and use it in doing something completely different. Weirdly, I'd run like a dance class for a friend of mine. I'm not a dancer, but I've always liked dancing. But I ran a sort of dance exercise class for a friend, so when the opportunity arose, I made us up a dance and wrote us a song, and then we went and did that outside Sun HQ, and it's been all over the internet. And how weird is it that I've just accrued that skill somewhere in my life plan that just happened to be really useful. And this is the thing with the campaign, it's like it's had this beautiful reach out to people who've just bought whatever it is they have into it, and it's that makes it what it is. It's the artist that draws us this brilliant cartoon. It's the poet that films their fist-thumping, amazing poem about objectification and what women have to deal with every day, and puts that on YouTube. It's the BBC rap star who's recently done us a video, and all the kids know him, and he's just done this video at risk of losing all his friends and maybe several jobs, but has done us this rap video about No More Page 3. It's the young 16-year-old girl that felt so empowered by getting involved in a little way with No More Page 3 that she's now heading up her campaign to change sex education in schools, amongst a billion other things that she's doing, including starting her A-levels. I have no idea how she's finding the energy for that. But it's the girl guide that chatted with another girl guide, that chatted with another girl guide, that took it back to their HQ and decided to back No More Page 3, and the same thing at Unison, and the same thing in the teaching unions. And before we know it, we have this social movement that's happening as part of a huge social movement of feminism. So importantly, I just want to say, if you feel like you can't make a contribution, rubbish. There'll be something you can do, even if it's just chatting to somebody, if it's drawing a picture, if it's writing a poem, something, and put it out there, and it will make a difference. That's it.